Welcome to Good Food and Tours Jamaica, and let's make some bammy, or what you call it, cassava bread. We're making it from scratch. Step by step, we will be going through this together, so stick around. To make your bammy or cassava bread, you need cassava, right? So we got our cassava straight from the farm. You can get yours from the supermarket or the market. Wherever you get it, it's okay. We're using the sweet cassava, not the bitter one. The bitter one is poisonous. For the bitter cassava to be edible, you have to rest it overnight. Something to that effect. That's what my grandma always tell me. Anyway, so we're using the sweet cassava, so we don't have to worry about no bitter cassava thing. So we're going to peel the cassava right now, get off all of that outside skin. And depending on the texture of your cassava, it can be easy to come off or a little bit difficult. The cassava that we got from our farm is a little bit tough because it has been growing for over years, so it just regrow and regrow. That is why they are so fat and big. So if you're using some fresh cassava from the supermarket or you buy at the farm, probably it's softer than this because it never grew over 5 years. So after you peel the cassava, we're going to cut it up into some smaller pieces that when we are grating it, it can be easy to be grated. Then we're just going to rinse our cassava in some water and then just grate it straight away. So when we grate the cassava, we are transforming it from its natural state to something that we would call cassava pulp. After we have grated all the cassava, the next step is to remove all the liquid from the cassava pulp. My grandma usually takes a kitchen cloth, a clean kitchen cloth, and she places the cassava pulp in the center and she just wrings out all the starch. So the liquid is the starch. And Jamaican people sometimes they use a starch now to iron their clothes. I don't know how that part go. I'm just telling you what I've been told. And you just wring and you wring and you're going to get a lot of liquid, a lot of starch. At this stage now, we have dried cassava pulp. My grandma, she's just going to take her hand and go through it and loosen it out, break up all the clumps. So after we have loosened the dry cassava pulp, we're going to sieve it next. By sieving the cassava pulp, we're separating any large pieces of cassava that didn't get to be grated down finely from our cassava flour. We're creating a cassava flour that is going to be a slightly coarse. It's not going to be as refined as the one you get in the supermarket. So those are the large cassava clump that we need to get out. Now my grandma is going to go ahead and add a little bit of salt to the coarse cassava flour that we have just created. Now this is where she tastes it to see if it needs a little bit more salt. I am not tasting it, and I do not recommend you to taste any raw cassava. But my grandma is a pro. Alright, so now she's going to bake the cassava. So she gets a nice little cute pan. She margarine up the pan. Usually we would say butter, but we're using chiffon margarine. Jamaicans love the chiffon margarine, you know. I'm talking about myself. So once that is greased properly and it is heated, we're just going to take some of that cassava flour and just spread it into the pot. And we're using medium heat. And she's not going to press down the cassava. She just spread it out. Do not press it down. Grandma made sure to warn me never to press down the cassava flour in the pot. Just lightly spread it around. Now all you have to do is just patiently wait until the bammy cooks on this side, and you're going to know when to flip it when you see that all of the cassava flour pulls away from the edges of the pan. My grandma's skilling her. She's going to take a fork and slowly lifts it off that she can hold it, and then she can just use the spatula and move in and flip it. After she flips it, this is when she moves in and press down the bammy. She says you need to do this so you can get even cooking. Alright. After she finishes pressing down the bammy with a paper towel, she's going to allow this side of the bammy to cook. Probably 3 to 5 minutes for it to be cooked on this side. Now when it comes to flipping your bammy for the first time, you're kind of going to be skeptical of when to flip it over. Now if you're trying to flip it and you notice that it's going to fall apart, don't. Just let it finish cooking. That means it needs to spend some more time to cook. And when it spends more time to cook, then you can just go and flip it easy. It's not rocket science, you know? It's just making cassava bammy. And you're done. That is it. That is how you make cassava bammy, how you make cassava bread or bammy. And as soon as the cassava them bake, me and my family, we couldn't wait to eat. And just look at it. It's beautiful, a part of our culture that just cannot be lost, you know. And we love this with some red pea soup. The cassava bammy just suck up all of that flavor, all of that soup. Yo! Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned for more exciting content like this. Now, I have to tell you what's coming up next, right? In the next episode, we will be going to Mandeville Market, the meat shop, the butcher. Yo, this is going to be some really extreme stuff. So stick around.